Assalamu alaikum. Let's be honest, most of us don't fail because we are lazy. We fail because our environment is working against us. We want to pray, but our phone is closer than the prayer mat. We want to focus, but distractions are louder than our intentions. Today's episode is about one simple idea. Just one simple idea, right? Good habits should be easy. Bad habits should be hard. Today, we are learning how to make it easy. In Atomic Habits, James Clear teaches us something powerful. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And one of the most important parts of a system is your environment. It's obvious, isn't it?
You're always being kind of pulled toward what is natural and easy and consistent in that environment. So how can you prime your environment to make those the things you want to do? That's for physical environment. Social environment is the same. You're always kind of being pulled toward what the behaviors are that are natural there. What are the social norms? What are the things that people get praised and rewarded for? What is the culture typically calling you to do? And that's where I think the answer is you want to surround yourself with groups who have the behaviors you want to have. Join groups where your desired behavior is normal. If it's normal in that group, then you can rise together. Sometimes you hear people say things like "fire your friends," or whatever. And I'm not all the way there. I think that yes, it is true. Sometimes you have an extreme circumstance where there's a particularly toxic person or something like that, and you probably maybe should not be around them, and those can lead to very hard decisions. But I would say for the majority of life and the majority of your relationships, what we're really talking about here is not getting rid of relationships. We're talking about finding specific places where that habit can thrive. So here are some examples. There's a number of studies that have shown that it tends to be easier to build a new habit in a new environment. So for example, first let me back up. There's an interesting way to define what a habit is, which is that it is a behavior that is tied to a particular context. So for example, your habit of watching Netflix might be tied to the context of your couch at 7 p.m. And whenever you walk into your living room and you're by your couch and it's in the evening, you're kind of naturally being pulled toward picking up the remote and doing that because that's the context the habit happens in. So if you want to build a new habit, and again, these studies have found that it tends to be easier to build a new habit in a new environment. Well, let's say you want to start a habit of journaling. Well, you walk into your living room in the evening and you sit down on the couch and you're like, I'm going to start journaling. But you're naturally, your brain is kind of like, well, it's time to pick up the remote and turn on the TV. That doesn't always mean that you need a brand new space, like a new building or a new room to do every habit in. But you could do something like you could get a chair and put it in the corner of the room. And that becomes the journaling chair. And the only thing that you do when you sit in that chair is you journal for 5 minutes. So now you have a new context that is tied to the behavior that you want to perform. Create a space that is a safe place for that habit to live or for that habit to thrive, let's say. Sometimes those spaces are ready-made. Like let's say you want to do yoga 4 days a week. But you look around your family or your friends in your apartment that you're living in, nobody else is interested. They don't want to do it too. You do it in the living room, you kind of get made fun of, or you're stepping on other people's space. They're like, I'm trying to do stuff in here too. It's just kind of inconvenient. Well, you can go to a yoga studio, and that's a place where for that hour, you can be surrounded by a group where your desired behavior is normal. You don't have to fire any of your friends, and you can just go to the place where that habit can thrive. And I think each habit likes to have that. It likes to have somewhere where it can exist in a way that it's going to be supported.
Your environment quietly shapes your behavior. Not with motivation, not with pressure, but with cues. What you see, what is near you, what is easy to access. Your environment is always teaching you what to do the next. Islam has already taught us this. Think about it. Prayer times are fixed. The adhan calls us. The masjid is clean and open. And most of it is in air conditioned now. So much comfort, isn't it? The Qibla is clear. Islam does not depend on motivation. It depends on structure. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ loved simplicity. He removed difficulty wherever possible. When the environment supports you, ibadah, worship becomes natural. Not heavy, not forced, just consistent. Now let's talk about real life. Your phone is always charged, always near you, always calling for your attention, isn't it? However, your prayer mat, folded, put away, sometimes forgotten, isn't it? So what does your brain choose? Not what you believe in, but what is easier, isn't it? It's human psychology. This isn't weakness. This is how the human brain works. And Islam never blamed us for being a human. It never does. It guided us to design our lives wisely. Let's make prayer easier. How? Okay. Listen carefully. Keep your prayer mat visible. Keep the Quran within reach. Create a small worship corner in your room. If you see it, you'll remember it. Especially for men, since we're supposed to go to the mosques, the best way is to keep our routine around the prayers. The prayer is pillars in our religion, in our lifestyle. Let you schedule your other tasks around the prayer. Not you take the prayer as it's like pillars, right? You can't move pillars. You have to go around it. So it means you have meetings, you have coffees, you have other activities. So try to schedule it around the pillars, right? So that way it's going to make it easier for you to practice it. And also try to get help from your friends, from your families. Anyway, moving on. Step 2. Reduce friction. Don't ask, do I feel like praying? But ask, what is making prayer harder than it needs to be? Put your phone in silent mode before Salah. Make wudu earlier. Pray as soon as the adhan comes. Less thinking, more flow. Step 3. Add simple cues. For example, link habits together. James, would it be possible to explain how habit stacking works?
Build a new habit if you layer it or stack it on top of an old habit, a habit you're already doing. He calls it the tiny habits recipe, I think. But the insight is just that we all have habits that we're performing each day, and those can become anchors. They can become cues that prompt the new behaviors that we're going to perform. So let's say that your current habit is you make a cup of coffee, right? So you're already doing this. You're going to start each day. You're going to make a cup of coffee. And the new habit that you want to build is you want to start meditating. So then you could say, all right, after I make my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. So this is just like a basic habit stack, right? So you start with coffee and then you meditate after. Now, once you get good at this, you can start to chain them together. So for example, you could say, after I make my morning cup of coffee, I will I will meditate for 60 seconds, and then I will write my to-do list for the day. After I write my to-do list for the day, I will prioritize them and start working on, my first task or whatever. And now you have this little stack that you do the same way each morning, each time. And it just is a way to build simple momentum and get you in. I've got readers who have made all kinds of habit stacks. One of the funny ones that I remember is one guy, he was really into working out, and he was always drinking protein shakes, but his finances were kind of a mess. And so anytime that he would make a protein shake, he would check his finances and check his budget for the day. He would when I make a protein shake, I fill out my daily budget. That was his habit stack. But you can do it for anything.
After wudu, pray. After prayer, one short dua. After Fajr, one line of Quran. Small chains build strong routines, isn't it? As I've chosen this podcast for this time is because we all know Shaban is a training month for Ramadan, and we are all getting into the habit of spiritual awakening. Especially in Ramadan, it's easy for us to go to the mosque because we know the biggest devils, the Satans, they are chained, and the doors of the hellfires are closed, the doors of the Jannah are open, right? So what else do we have? Since we don't have Sayateen, right? We don't have the devils whispering us, but we have our nafs, we have our self that it is actually resisting. This is called the best jihad is, I would say, best jihad is the jihad of your nafs, of your own in self. Defeating your own ego, defeating your lazy, excusing self. Always take excuses, delaying, procrastination, right? Since right now we are in sacred month of Shaban, these months are not for pressure. They are for preparation. You're not trying to become perfect before Ramadan. You are simply making life easier for your future self, inshallah. Ramadan rewards what you prepare. Preparation is the key to success, isn't it? Not what you rush. How about a moment of reflection? Ask yourself quietly, what is one good habit I want? What is making it harder right now? What is one small change I can make today? Just one. That's it. That is enough. Remember this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not ask for perfection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves consistency. If you make the right thing easy, your heart will follow. If this episode helps you, subscribe to Heyvallaa Podcast. Share this with one of the friend and take one small action today. This is Mindful Liberty, helping you to build a lifestyle, not just habits. Thank you.